very good morning to all of you. I request that you all stand for the Tamil state anthem now.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் மதி சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை முதலும் தரிதனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை தினம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
Thank you very much. So a very warm welcome to all of you. We at the Center for Memory Studies at IIT Madras are delighted and honored to organize and host this international conference, Memory in the Digital Age, which has attracted over 160 scholars and colleagues from the UK, USA, Poland, Israel, Australia, and of course from all across our country. In this interdisciplinary conference, we aim to examine the future of memory, as paradoxical as it may sound. That's exactly what we're trying to do. How we are likely to remember in the digital age that we find ourselves endlessly embedded in. And we are delighted and deeply honored to have as a chief guest today, Dr. Palanivel Thiaga Rajan, the Honourable Minister for Finance and HRM, Government of Tamil Nadu, who has very graciously agreed to be here with us at his inaugural, despite his obviously very busy schedule. We are deeply grateful to you, sir. We also have here with us today Professor Kamakoti, Director of IIT Madras, who has been truly inspirational in his leadership and is very kindly supportive to all our research endeavors as our institute head. Thank you very much, sir. We have here with us today Head of the Department, Humanities and Social Sciences, Professor Jyotirmaya Tripathy, who again has been a pillar of academic as well as emotional support to all of us, especially in the center from the very inception of our research. I now request all the honorable dignitaries to kindly come up on stage and kindly illuminate the lamp to symbolically start the event. I request the dignitaries to kindly take their seats on the dais. So we start the event by inviting Professor Jyotirmaya Tripathy, HOD, HS Department, to kindly share his thoughts on this event and the work of our center. Professor Tripathy.
Thanks, Dr. Avishek. Honourable Minister for Finance and Human Resources Management, Dr. Palanivel Thiaga Rajan, respected Director Professor V. Kamakoti, my dear colleagues, Dr. Avishek, Parui and Dr. Merin, Simi, all the keynote and plenary speakers and distinguished panelists, speakers, guests, students. A very warm welcome to IIT Madras and in particular to this conference, Memory in a Digital Age, for over the next 2 days. So, I'm also welcome you to IIT Madras and the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, and also in particular to Center for Memory Studies. So this is the extended geography of IIT Madras, and this IIT Madras Research Park stands for human creativity, human aspiration, human innovation, and is metonymic of IIT Madras and the excellence that it stands for. So it's my privilege to have you all here. The Memory Studies group, I can say with some authority, has done yeoman's service to the cause of the particular domain and has successfully created a pool of talent, particularly of the next generation who will be opting for memory studies for their career and further research. And I am very thankful to Dr. Avishek and Dr. Merin for that. And the department has done its bit in complementing that effort, and I'm sure the institute under the leadership of Professor Kamakoti remains as ever heavily invested on the trajectories that the department is possibly going to take. So as and when you have time, take some time to walk around, experience the place and the energy it radiates. Not to overemphasize the abundant beauty of the campus, as in the sight of the black box or the chatter of the students or the silence of the trees. If you are historically oriented, try to spend some time in the institute's heritage center. That will take you back to its moment of origin when it found itself with West Germany playing the role of a midwife. So on behalf of the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, the institute and my director, I once again extend you a very hearty welcome. Thank you very much for your time. You have my best wishes.
Thank you very much, Professor Tripathy, for a very kind and warm opening address. I now invite Professor Kamakoti, Director of IIT Madras, to kindly share his thoughts on this event.
Thank you, Avishek, Honourable Minister. Very hearty welcome to IIT Madras and all the international participants and the other participants from our country. I think we are very refreshing to get all of you. After 2 years of almost imprisonment, we are now meeting in a physical mode. Memory in a digital age is a very, very important topic. Let me just tell you a small incident that happened, say, two weeks or 3 weeks before, when we were trying to form a team from IIT Madras alumnus who can be involved in a fab, right, in making a semiconductor fabrication unit. I just went back to my email and just put certain keywords related to the fab. And I was able to get around 25 of our alumnus, their name, the exact work they have been doing, because some point of time they had been communicating to us, saying, so I am in this particular company, working in this particular area. So this is a very important aspect of what memory is going to be in the digital age. This gives us two important things. Number one is somebody is remembering for you, right? And so this essentially expands the total amount of information that you can store in some form, and memory is not going to be just internal, it's going to be external. And there is also a very strong possibility that this memory is going to be shared in public, right? And then there is going to be a network that is going to be formed just because of this memory. So these are some things very interesting from a memory in the digital age. The next important thing that we are looking out is I just went back and got the format of my PhD thesis, which I submitted in '95. It was in using a software called KaiWriter. Okay. Now the format is not readable. That software doesn't exist. And I had the old executable, but I was not able to run it on the current version of Microsoft. Okay. So how do we store, how do we maintain the formats? We have so much of digital data, but how do we maintain the format? Because today, beyond ASCII, the normal text storage, there are many different varieties of storage. And these softwares have to exist for a prolonged period of time so that you can retrieve the data. So this is also something very, very important. The third important thing that comes purely from a technology point of view is how long can a disk be there. So can I see, for example, we were closely working with the registration department here. They wanted a storage which will exist for 250 years at the least. Now, can we have such type of storages? And as the data keeps growing, we are looking at different ways. So these are all very interesting technological interventions into memory in the digital age. And I'm sure there are many efforts taken, we call now this as digital humanities, and I think there is some lot of trust that is happening in this area. The other aspect is today what you will be witnessing as a part of this conference, many augmented reality and virtual reality interventions that can bring in certain historical incidents very close to reality, and you can experience them. And this basically is a very good pointer to learn from history, right, and to relive your past. I think these are some very interesting interventions that also is a part of this large interdisciplinary memory at the digital age effort. And surely we will be investing quite a bit on this, both from the research angle and also from the funding and also from multiple startups that are going to come up. You are in the research park here. This is the sort of the industry academia connect of IIT Madras. And so this aspect will be heavily encouraged by IITs, and I'm looking forward to all of you to basically participate, and let us all do something great to keep our history as close to reality as possible, so that our future generations can really get the real impact of what we are today. So I thank Avishek, I congratulate Avishek and Merin for putting this together, and hope to have a very rewarding conference this time. Thank you very much.
I now request Professor Kamakoti to kindly felicitate our Chief Guest, the Honourable Minister, Dr. Thiaga Rajan, with a memento on behalf of the Institute. I also request Professor Kamakoti to kindly gift the Honourable Minister our conference booklet and officially launch the app Memory Bites, which will enable the AI animated representation of Anglo-Indian histories and heritage. I now invite the Honourable Minister, Dr. Thiaga Rajan, to kindly share his thoughts on this event.
Professor Tripathy, the head of the department, who welcomed us all, Professor Kamakoti, the director of the IIT Madras, Dr. Parui and Merin Simi, the organizers of this conference, and the director, co-director of the Memory Studies Center, all of you delegates, ladies and gentlemen here, good morning, and thank you for inviting me to participate in this event. I apologize first for the slight delay. Talking about memory, I have this short-term memory only when it comes to traffic, and I'm so used to being a minister and getting every place I want to go in 15 or 20 minutes that I had quite forgotten how bad this stretch can be. So I left my house at 9:15 for a 9:30 event, and I got here only at 9:45 or 9:50. So my memory is not deep enough on how bad the traffic conditions are. But first I must say that I'm very happy to note that an institution with such strong technical founding as IIT has such a wonderful humanities department overall, or a humanities school. And then within that humanities school, the memory studies department. I had a similar experience when I studied at MIT for a brief period, and was amazed to learn of the quality of the social sciences, work that was done at MIT, including a literature department, actually, where if I look back at my academic courses across 4 degrees, 4 majors, 3 universities, probably the course that stands out in my memory is one called Literature, Ethics, and Authority at the Sloan School. And we covered from the historic text, from the Latin and the Greek, from other cultures, to, kind of the 12 Angry Men, I think the jury trial movie is called, about persuasion, about authority, about power, about application, about projection. I was immensely useful through the course of my career and continues to be today as a politician. So I think no good education can be complete without a good founding in the humanities, and it's very important, and I'm so happy to note that IIT focuses on the humanities as part of training otherwise brilliant technocrats. The director touched on 2 or 3 things that were very interesting to me. Actually, let me just take a step back. Normally, as a politician, we get invited to all kinds of functions. Mostly, we're not expected to speak that much. We're just expected to mark attendance and lend some, kind of credibility or stature to the event. And so, generally, I don't really plan what I'm going to speak. And I think you call it either lack of time or lack of discipline in my work, or, figuring anyway they've called me to be a figurehead, why should I really spend any time doing any preparing? So much of the time, I would say 99% of the time, including in the assembly, I just speak off the top of my head. Which it goes back to this notion of memory, right? In a lot of professions, certainly in politics, certainly in public life, having a relatively good memory, even in a digital age where there's infinite storage and infinite retrieval capacity, carrying it in your head and having a good mechanism for getting things in and out, I think, actually makes a difference. It's still a performance enhancer. But let me go back to the professor's point, to the director's point, where he talked about, at some level, we are now in an age of universal memory, right? There's so much common information, so easily available anytime to anybody. And of course, the first thing I would say out of that is that it greatly enhances the average kind of intellectual performance of any person, right? I mean, the need to remember, just like the calculator probably enhanced the mathematical performance of anybody, then the internet and its infinite capacity for storage and the efficiency of the search engines really make a fundamental, profound difference to the weighted average productivity or the weighted average knowledge base of population, of any population. So that's good. But just because that's true doesn't mean it's 100% efficient or 100% guaranteed. As the director pointed out, the engines of storage and retrieval, whether it's the software or the application or the program. I was just thinking back, when I wrote my PhD, I started writing it in some specialized software that was called, I forget even what it was called, but every PhD student used to use the same one. It was called Text Font or something, I forget. And I think I was the first guy to write mine in Microsoft Word, and this was like 93 or 94. I had to change the early chapters, and when I finally finished it, I submitted to the print in Microsoft Word on a PC. Now, I'll tell you why that's a big deal. When I went to the US in 1987, there was no Windows, right? There was no, mainframe still ran on punch cards. There was no internet. There was like BitNet and ARPANET and all that within the universities and so forth. And there was no universal format. And I think the first kind of Apple Macs were just about starting to come out, or somewhere around then. Because I think certainly the first IBM PC I saw was in 1981 or something. and it had RAM of 64K. And it had a hard drive of 20 megabytes. That was the size of the first PC I got. And I got it from the US in 1981. So anyway, now we live in an age of infinite external memory. But in addition to the mechanical process of storage and retrieval that the director talked about, I also thought it was very on point to talk about whether the format stays the same or the format changes, and also whether the actual storage device, the hardware, is capable of infinite life. I'm one of the guys driving hard for the digitization of all land records in the government of Tamil Nadu, so I certainly know the project that he's talking about. I remember signing the file. But 250 years is still not eternity, and there's some things that are supposed to last for eternity. So I suppose the only solution is that every 50 years or so, we'll have to canisterize, figure out the new storage technology and keep moving it. And that's something that I have to remember to go and write back into the project file, that there must be a component for that, though, you know, I'll be long dead and gone by the time it needs to come about. In that sense, I had my own little period of study in cognition and cognitive psychology, and some component of that was memory. And I remember one theory, that there's no such thing as forgetting, right? That whatever you take in is registered somewhere. The only question is, can you retrieve it in a finite amount of time? And the difference between remembering and forgetting is how strong the links are in the network and how easily you can pull them back. And if that's the case, then I would say, you know, clearly in terms of either association or just outright storage efficiency and retrieval efficiency, then there are many professions where any amount of external memory still doesn't work. So if you're a minister or an assemblyman sitting in the parliament, though we are trying to augment the memory, I think Tamil Nadu may be first or second, maybe, but within the top three, where we have instituted a computer on every MLA's desk, and we are slowly building into that the database going back to the inception of the Madras Presidency's Legislative Council in 1921. Every single debate, every bill, every budget, so that in real time MLAs can actually extract and question the government or input into the debate what has happened in the past. Because right now the fact is that if you had to rely on your internal memory, 99% of us don't know enough to really add value to the debate fully. In some sense, the speaker was making fun of me when I said that this was a priority project for me, and we started implementing it last year, and we've kept on adding, and now we're going, meaning from last year onwards, every single piece of statement, company report, anything that's tabled in the House, plus the budget, plus all the bills, plus everything is already, the agenda, the minutes, the proceedings is all on the desktop. I mean, it's on a server and then it comes to the screen. But we're now going back. And when I told the speaker it was my priority to do that, he said, why do you want to give up your advantage? Very few people like you can remember enough to actually add to the debate. You're raising the average and lowering your uniqueness. But in a democracy, I think it's important that people are able to bring that kind of, continuity or cross-validation to the debate. Otherwise, we feel like we're starting from fresh every time, and we're not able to progress, right? If you have to start from scratch every time. You want to build on what's already there rather than start from the base. So in that sense, I think conferences like these are hugely important. I would say that the universalization of external memory, and it's not quite universal yet because there's still not 100% universal access to everybody, but I would say the overwhelming majority, at least in a place like Tamil Nadu, where we have something like 75% of the population has a smartphone. And again, a lot of this stuff is, counterbalancing or pro-cyclical in some sense. I've done a little bit of research because I used to be the head of the DMK IT wing. and there's a close correlation between how many Tamil Nadu users are there and how many companies make Tamil operating systems. Because you see, once you get on the internet, you can do a lot of other things. But the basic operating system of Android or your iPhone or your laptops and all that, not all languages equally are filtered into those commands and menus and stuff like that. And one of the reasons we have such high penetration in Tamil Nadu is that the combination of basic English education to almost any kid who goes to school in Tamil Nadu, plus the sheer weight that is in a state of 80 million people, so many people have access to the stuff that it becomes commercially viable and profitable to adapt things to a Tamil language. So we have this, kind of pro-cyclical move. So it's much more, in fact, in many channels, there are more Tamil content, money-making content videos than there are Hindi. Now just think about that. Think about the relative weight of Hindi speakers to Telugu is another language where there's this kind of network externality that comes in. But anyway, I digress. Even though the dream of universal unlimited memory externally still persists, I don't think we'll ever see an age in which the human memory can be 100% substituted or replicated, or the relative value of more efficient or a more comprehensive memory can be negated. So in that context, I know this series of papers will be very meaningful and will add to the existing body of knowledge and advance it. Such events are always kind of inflection points in the rate of learning, at least for the local community, because it expands everybody's perspective and it gives a kind of cross-fertilization of ideas. So I welcome this event. I congratulate the organizers, the department, the institute for supporting it. And I'm sure you'll all have a great time over the next few days. And I thank you once again for welcoming me, and much success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thiaga Rajan, for a really brilliant and quite touching address. And it's really hurt me to know that the human memory is still probably the most valid form of remembrance, because the human brain needs less than 20 words to do all the things that it can do. Fall in love, make meaning, remember, forget. So less than 20 words to do it. So it's a very sophisticated machine. So I don't think we have anything to replace that as yet. So thank you very much, sir, for that. I now invite Dr. Merin Simi to deliver a note of thanks and conclude the event.
Thank you very much. I am very delighted to propose this vote of thanks at the inaugural event of Memory in a Digital Age conference. On behalf of the Center for Memory Studies, IIT Madras, I convey our most sincere appreciation and gratitude to everyone who contributed towards making this event a remarkable occasion. First of all, we thank the Honourable Minister, Dr. Palanivel Thiaga Rajan, for accepting our invitation to inaugurate our conference and launch our augmented reality app, Memory Bytes. Your presence has elevated this conference. We've begun with the right chord, and it was a privilege to listen to you. Thank you, sir, for inspiring us with your very erudite words, which was quite in line with the core themes of this conference and our research, and your very kind engagement, which is truly exemplary. We really look forward to a long and fruitful association with you and your office as we embark on various heritage projects, including our forthcoming project, Remembering Mamallapuram, for which we hope, sir, that we will get tremendous support from your office as well. We thank Professor Kamakoti, Director IIT Madras, for the extensive support provided to us from the inception of this event. And he's been a great encourager in all of our research endeavors. After every interaction with him, we identify a new direction that our research could take. Thank you, sir, for eloquently guiding through us with your excellent leadership, which is taking our institute and our research initiatives to a greater heights. We really look up to you, sir. We thank Professor Jyotirmaya Tripathy, Head, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. He's been a mentor figure for the Centre and all our activities with his enthusiastic support towards all our research and professional endeavours. Our connect with him is not just an academic sense, it's a very emotional connect, which has been a constant support through our various activities. We thank all the deans of IC&SR, Global Engagement, and ACR at IIT Madras for always providing us with the support system and infrastructure required for our work. We thank our colleagues in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences and our students from whom we continue to learn. We thank Vizara Technologies, our industry partner, with whom we have created Memory Bytes, the AR app launched at the Inaugural. We really hope, sir, you would also get a couple of minutes to try the app right outside. Yeah. We have a fantastic lineup of keynote speakers from the academia and industry, from Queen Mary London, IIT Hyderabad, and Vizara Technologies. We greatly value our presence and academic association. We are very grateful for the support we have received from various known and unknown hands from different offices, IIT Madras, as well as the IIT Madras Research Park. Thank you all for your timely cooperation. It was really precious. A very special note of appreciation to our student volunteers. And finally, a very big thank you to the participants of this conference who have joined us from different parts of the world. We wish you a very pleasant stay in the campus and a wonderful experience the next 3 days. Thank you all for your time. Right after the national anthem, I request all the dignitaries to join us for high tea right at the adjacent hall, and the other participants can proceed to the bus, and the student coordinators will certainly help you. Thank you all for your time, and we look forward to interacting with you during the conference. I now request all of us to rise for the national anthem. Thank you.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे